Hello everyone, welcome to the Patna MailSoft meetup. We have lots of MailSoft developers from Patna and nearby cities working in various places. So this group main goal was keep let's empower some more professionals, some more students. So welcome to the Patna MailSoft meetup. And today our topic is multi-part form data in Mule 4. And I'm very glad to having our speaker, Sarvan Lingam. So welcome, Sarvan, to our group. And thank you very much for accepting the invitation and being here.
Thank you, Prakash.
So as you, we all know, because learning from the various video series, YouTube, like Meetup, he's also Millsoft ambassador and senior integration developer architect. Feel free to connect with him if you are not already, if someone is new. So today now we are going for our main topic like multi-form data in Mill4. Then we'll have some quiz or fun activity. So a little bit about me, I am Om Prakash. I am primarily in Salesforce ecosystem from the Salesforce development background. Along with me, Warid and Suraj are co-organizers with me, so you can always contact us with this option. You can always send us your feedback, some suggestion for next. If you are looking for feedback, please share with us. Thank you very much everyone once again, and welcome everyone, and welcome Sarvan once again. Thank you very much. So now let's go for the main session. Thank you.
Thank you. So, can I continue? Okay,
Yes, please.
guys. Just before starting our session, I want you guys to be attentive. So, if you are listening to my session, just say hi in the chat so that I can confirm my audio and let me know if you are able to see my screen as well. Great, great. So, hello guys. So today is our partner MuleSoft meetup. First of all, I would like to thank Om Prakash for giving this opportunity for me to deliver the session. Actually, this session should have happened last month, but I was in long vacation, so I didn't get a chance to work on this. So today we are going to discuss about multi-part form data. Most of you might know what is multi-part. If not, I'll try to explain what it is. As usual, I always say I will try to explain in general way or a layman's way so that it will be easy for you to understand, and then you can relate it to the technical terms and all right. So today's agenda is introduction about myself. I am the speaker for today, and a little about MuleSoft community. Then I will show you some pictures. During my vacation, I have seen some Mule pics, so I wanted to show so that before getting started with our session, it will be a relaxing kind of thing. Next, I'm going to present you and what is multipart and what is multipart form data, and then later we can discuss any queries and quiz at the end. So if you have any queries, you can feel free to chat, and because I won't be able to see chat while I'm presenting, so feel Om will be helping me with the questions. If Om will try to ask me if I am not able to see those chats. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so about the speaker, about myself, I'm a senior integration developer and architect at Bilinium. Currently, I'm located in Warsaw, Poland. I am working for Bilinium from past 6 months. Earlier, I used to work for companies like Infosys and Virtusa. And then I am also one of the MuleSoft ambassadors. And I am also a MuleSoft meetup leader at Hyderabad. So I host MuleSoft meetups for Hyderabad location. And I am a technical writer, speaker, and a trainer. And then I am owning a YouTube channel called MuleSoft Tech Zone, and my page is all social media platforms. So, and also there is a website which is under construction, but you can still access stravanlingam.com. So this is all about myself, and a little about our MuleSoft community, guys who are new to MuleSoft or those who are joining for the first time. So we have like many portals. Okay, first thing is official training portal of MuleSoft. So please try to register training.mulesoft.com, where you can find all self-placed free trainings, paid trainings, and regarding certifications. I keep getting questions in different platforms like LinkedIn, Telegram, everywhere regarding certifications and all. But if you just take 15 minutes of your time after registering and just go through this portal, you'll get all information over there. All right. Next, we have official blog called blogs.mulesoft.com, where you can see these are the blogs officially posted by MuleSoft. There are like many architects, developers share their knowledge over official blog. Then MuleSoft meetups. I hope everyone in this session might have known what is meetups, because until and unless you register for meetups.mulesoft.com, you won't be able to join. But still, please try to share with your community, with your friends, that they can join meetups.mulesoft.com. And first they have to register this portal, and then they can see upcoming events, and they can register for individual groups or events. Then we have a official MuleSoft developers portal hosted by MuleSoft. Again, you can just see we have two. One is a group and one is a page, so you can follow both of them. And then there are some exam readiness sessions. Those are going on in the month of August, especially for Indian location. And anyone from the world can attend, but during IST time. So please make use of those exam readiness sessions. You'll be having around 4 sessions for MCD, and 1 for MCIA, and 1 for MCPA. Those will really help you to crack. And this is not a training session. Okay, this is just before you going to write an exam or give an attempt for the exam. These sessions are really useful. And there are a lot of questions people keep on asking that about vouchers. Can we get vouchers or free vouchers and all? Guys, remember, there is no voucher concept. It was rolled out, I guess, around 2 years ago itself. So there is no voucher or no voucher ID. Okay, there are ways to buy the certification. One is to buy the certification by going into training.mulesoft.com and purchase it, so that the exam is automatically linked to your account. The second way is by attending MuleSoft meetups, not by attending, sorry. If you are going to win trivia quiz in the MuleSoft meetups hosted in different cities, then you will be awarded with a free training program, and upon attending this training program, you will be given a free certification attempt. So there is no voucher again here. You cannot ask MuleSoft meetups, I didn't get voucher. After you have won this trivia quiz, or if you are a speaker for an event, our local MuleSoft leader will be sending you a link to fill the form with your mail ID, so that once everything is fine, if it looks good, MuleSoft itself will they will tie up your email account, the training account, with exam or training account. So there is no voucher concept. Please don't ask the same question. Okay, so this is a little about MuleSoft community. Please follow all these things. Okay, then I told, just for fun, I have been on a vacation last month to Croatia. Croatia is a country, small country, which is adjacent to Poland. So I saw this MuleSoft. Okay, I used to see always a male muley, but you can see a couple muley right here. So these are some dolls which I saw in that the place. I think it is famous for mules, because I saw a lot of mule dolls here. You can see here, right? So there are like different muleys I saw during my vacation. So this is just for fun. I thought of sharing with you. Okay, fun apart. So we are going to start our session. I just wanted to make sure that you are ready again. So are you ready? Yes? Great. So I'm starting. What is MuleSoft? What is multipart? Okay. So first, before going to multipart form data, we have to discuss what is multipart. Remember, multipart form data or multipart is not just related to MuleSoft itself. That is a separate section. You will create multipart APIs using MuleSoft, using Java, using IIB, using web methods. It's a common thing. Okay. So what is multipart? Okay. Multipart is a content type, just like we have application JSON, application XML, all kind of thing. It is a kind of content type, which content type is generally under headers, isn't it? If you are good with MuleSoft, you must know that. And one or different sets of data are combined into a single body. When I say different sets of data, this is official, explanation. But when I say one or more different sets, that means in Mule terms, one or more payloads. Okay, whenever there is a requirement for you to accept, generally in the payload, if you are selecting application JSON or application XML, there is only one payload that you can pass to your API, isn't it? But if there is any requirement that you have to pass 2 payloads at a time, then we are going ahead to build a multi-part API. So one or more different payloads combined in a single body. All right. Next, we typically use this multi-part request for which scenarios? It is for file uploads and transferring data of several types in single request. That's what I said. Like if there is a requirement where your API has to accept both XML and JSON payload. All right. So in that case, you must use multi-part. So it's like file uploads or dealing with files or transferring several types, like it can be application JSON, it can be any combination. You can send a file with the JSON body, you can send file with XML, or you can send two files, or you can send two JSON bodies, whatever it is. But multi means multiple parts. Parts here is payload. All right. So next thing is, for example, a file along with a JSON object is one of the simple example. All right. So in multi-part, we have different subtypes. Okay. And what are those subtypes? You can dig deeper into multi-part. Okay. There are a lot of articles on it, but on a high level, I wanted to tell you that multi-part subtypes are multi-part mixed is one of the subtypes, multi-part digest, multi-part alternative, multi-part report, signed, encrypted, form data, which we are going to discuss today, X-mixed replace, and multi-part byte range. So today we are only concentrating on multi-part form data, but I just wanted to let you know that multi-part is a type, and within that type we have different subtypes, where multi-part form data is one of the subtypes, which we are going to discuss it today. Clear? So what is multi-part form data? Okay. The MIME type multi-part form data is used to express values submitted through a form. Okay. When I say in a form, it can be via API as well, right? But it is submitted as a form. All right. Originally, it is defined as part of HTML 4.0 version, which is most commonly used for submitting files with HTTP, right? See, whenever we are developing Mule APIs, what we do on our local, we just test it with Postman, or we call it via HTTP requester. But at the end, what is happening? For example, you have a login form or registration form. You enter all details and click on submit, or there is a portal to upload your CV. What you will do, you will enter your first name, last name, details, email address, contact number, and upload your CV. Upon submitting is where our actual functionality of APIs comes into picture, right? So once you click on submit, that's where our endpoint is getting triggered, right? So it's not like, users or clients just go to Postman and send the CVs, isn't it? That doesn't make sense. So at the end, there will be a UI, but upon clicking those buttons, there will be a logic performed at the back end, right? So in forms, there are a series of fields to be supplied by the user who fills out the form. Each field has a name with a given form. The names are unique. So this is regarding like HTML form I am talking about. Okay, you don't have to worry about HTML now, but for more information regarding multi-part or multi-part form data, you can find it in online. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Okay, so before going to see how to develop a multi-part form data API, I want you to know. So this is the process, right? In MuleSoft, if at all we are if at all we are developing any API or a web service or a RESTful service in particular, what we do, the first step is to design. It's always this, like I always use this term personally whenever I train or speak, MuleSoft 3D. When I say 3D, it is design, develop, and deploy. That is the process we always follow, isn't it? So designing RAML for multi-part, we will see how it can be done. Before that, I have a screenshot how to use it. You can see here, this is the RAML which I have designed, but I will also show you how to do it. Okay. So I have a resource name called test. Okay. I am using a post method. Okay. Then a body. In body, the type, you must have already worked with application JSON or application XML. Likewise, multi-part form data is also a content type. Okay. So, but this multi-part form data will not come automatically when you are typing. Usually when you are writing RAML, it will give you auto suggestions, isn't it? Whenever you are typing like resource name test, colon, and then you enter, you will get all get, put, post in the suggestions. You will select post. Again, it will come to the next line. It will ask body, headers, query parameters, etc. So you can select body. But next thing is, it will show only application JSON XML, but not multi-part form data. In this case, you have to write it manually. So the content type is multipart /form-data. And within that, if you want to pass more than one payload, then you have to define something like this. You can see line number 8, properties. So within properties, you can see line number 9, 11, and 13, payload 1, 2, 3. So what I'm trying to do is I want to pass 3 different kind of payloads, where first payload is a string. I'll tell you why I have defined as a string. Okay, second payload is a string. So in that strings, you can pass any JSON data or XML data. I will show you how to transform while developing the application. But whenever you're passing, it's always a key value pair on the right side. So you can see multipart form data. Then payload 1, you can see here, right? When I am describing payload 1, the type is string. This is how it looks in the graphical view. The field name will be payload 1 and the value that you have to enter. Next is payload 2, something like this. Same, I am using string as a type. And payload 3, I want to upload a file. So it will show something like this. This is a design center view, okay, not Postman view. I'll show you how to pass this, multiple payloads in Postman while developing the application. All right. So this is something about developing an API. I will show you. I'll go to Anypoint Studio. I have it already designed. Guys, are you with me? Yes. Great. So not getting bored, isn't it? So if I go to start designing, I have one application API spec I have already designed. Let me see. So I always suggest developers or even architects, it's not just developers who have to code, always try to make a habit, even though if you don't have a requirement in your project. Many of them during the interviews, when I interview people, they say like, I didn't get a chance to work on this. But even I didn't get a chance to work on this before. Of course, I have worked on real-time projects, but even before I have tried it, because when you get a chance and when you have free resources, please try to utilize them and try out new things. Okay. Now you can see I have a test, right? Resource called test. Then I am defining the post body. Again, there are a lot of perceptions like, can't we use get method? You can use get method as well. It's not mandatory that you have to use, but it is like, best practices. We have some standards that we follow. Whenever we are uploading the data, we always use post method, or whenever we are retrieving something, we use get method. Whenever we are updating, we are using put method. Whenever we are deleting, we are using delete method. But if you ask me, Shravan, can I use delete method for uploading? Yes, you can use. There is nothing wrong. Okay. So, but just try to follow the standards. Okay. And then body, application body, and then you are defining multipart form data. As I was saying earlier, okay, let me try to create another resource like upload. Okay, upload is my new resource. I told you, right? It will give auto suggestions, post, then body, because I don't want to. So here you can see in others, it is giving some kind of examples like application JSON or XML, but nowhere it is showing multipart form data. In that case, what you have to do, so instead of, before going there, you can just click on this port. Here media type, for now, any instance of data is allowed, but I don't want any instance of data to be allowed. So I'll say multipart form data, colon, and enter. Right now I have to define these properties, like what is the payload one. So instead of using payload one, I'll say like JSON details. Okay, I'll say type equal to string, then XML details, I'll say type colon string, and then I can enter and I'll say file upload. Okay. Type equal to file. So now you can see automatically there are three types of payloads that we can pass now, right? So, and it is showing required. You might have been aware of RAML, right? Whenever you are not defining anything explicitly, that means that field is required by default. But if you want it to be optional, you can keep a question mark here so that this required will be gone. So So if there is any requirement that, you know, either you can send XML or JSON details, then you can use this, you know, optional field with question mark. Okay, file upload. Then if I want to try it, you can see here, we can pass like, you know, it is not showing here about, you know, JSON details because it is not mandatory. But if I remove this question mark, you can see JSON details. So you can pass your JSON something like this, but it will go as a string. Okay, names Ravan. I'll tell you how to convert this into JSON. So XML, you can say root, hello world, root. Okay, and then choose a file and send the request. Of course, I haven't defined any responses, but it will give 200. Okay, because I haven't defined any responses. This is how you have to design your YAML for multi-part form data. Guys, do you have any questions regarding this designing of YAML for multi-part? If yes, please post your questions. If not, just say go ahead. Shall we continue further? Designing YAML, all good? Thanks. So now that we have designed a YAML, you know how to import your YAML and you know, do stuff, isn't it? Like importing YAML is just like any other thing, and you will have a post method and it will redirect. But I am not showing that importing of YAML and all because it is very basic thing. Now I wanted to discuss about our designing part is completed. Now I want to discuss about developing multi-part form data API. So guys, it is very simple if you understand. This is the structure of multi-part form data. So I want to explain you clearly. I will show you the difference so that you don't make any mistakes. Okay, a lot of guys keep doing, including me, have done mistakes a lot. But then when I try to understand the structure, it was easy for me to you know, understand, and I didn't make any mistakes after that. Okay, so I just wanted to show you something, right? Whenever you want to call a service or whenever you want to define a multi-part form data as your output, so you have to define with parts. Parts is the root tag for this. So whole thing is an object first of all. Okay, and parts is, I told you, right, multi-parts. So in that parts you will be having different payloads. So you can see here in these parts I have payload 1, payload 2, payload 3. I'm defining 3 payloads. Next important thing is headers. So for each part, let's discuss about first payload 1. Okay, so for payload 1 you have to define the headers, and then content disposition, it is very important. So inside content disposition you have to define that what is the name. This name should match exactly with whatever is there in our properties here. For example, there is JSON details, isn't right? There are 3 names here: JSON details, XML details, and file upload, right? So in this case, the name should be, the first name should be, here it was payload 1, but it should be JSON details. Make sure. And also there is 1 in 6th line, you can see it is denoted. So those 2 names should be same. Payload 1, payload 1. This is because this is for test resources which I have designed. So those 2 names should be correct. Okay, if you are giving wrong name in 9th line, then it will not accept. It will give 400 bad request. Clear? For example, again, you can test it out in YAML itself. If I go here, if I change the name, like instead of JSON details, if I give payload 1, right, and if I send the request, it is saying 400 bad requests, required multi-part property JSON details is missing. So by the name itself, MuleSoft has this good thing that, you know, even without anyone's even without googling, you can just, it is a common English, right? Like it's a basic English. It is saying required multi-part property JSON details is missing. That means you haven't defined your JSON details. So you can just mention JSON details here and send the request. Yeah, so please make sure that you are not making any mistake over there, because multi-part, when you're working, you will be defining multiple payloads and sometimes you might do mistakes. And next thing is subtype. Subtype is, you can hard code it directly, because subtype, of course, it is output multi-part form data, right? So it should be form data, I don't know, form part. Okay, you have to define this form data as subtype. Okay, so next thing is content. So what is the content? Why I am defining payload.parts.payload1.content? I will show you by debugging the application. But if you consider here, in each section of payload, there are only two things. One is headers and the other one is content. Again, headers has content disposition where you will be defining name and subtype, and content is the actual payload that you want to pass. Same thing for payload 2 as well, because both are strings. I don't want to show that. But in payload 3, you can see whenever you are dealing with files, right? Whenever you are dealing with files, one thing is added additionally to when compared to payload 1 and payload 2, which is file name. Because it is a file, you have to always define file name. Clear? And file name is not in camel case. You have to define in all small letters here. There is, we always use best practices, and what we do is whenever we type, our hands goes by typing in camel case, like subtype T capital or file name N capital. No. Okay. But when you see, it is pretty much easy, this message structure. Like we have parts and we have section of payload separated by comma. You can see line number 14, there is a comma. Line number 23, there is a comma. Right? We are differentiating the payloads, and each payload section has headers and content, and within headers we have content disposition. Within content disposition we have name and subtype. And even in file case, it is same. Only difference is we are adding one more field to content disposition, which is called as file name. Clear? So you can see here, right? File name and one more thing is content type. These are the two fields that you have to add when compared to string which we are passing. So for files, there are two things you have to consider: file name and content type. What is the content type of your file? It can be application PDF, or it can be an image, it can be of anything. Okay, even sometimes you might be getting, I'll show you that in debugging the application, but this is multi-part form data structure. Clear? So how to access values from payload, I will show you. Okay, clear? Any questions so far? If we want to keep file name as variable, okay, well, complete your question. If you want to keep file name as variable, I didn't get point. So if you want, like, as in we can send any file name. Yeah, you can send any file name. It's not that you have to use the same file name. If there is a scenario where you will get file name from, suppose you are having a file name in JSON body, JSON details, and you will just pass a file, you can also modify the file name of actual file. Okay, I'll show you that. Can we define data types in JSON details or payload 1? I'm not sure that it can, but if I say object, because why I'm trying to say is, I'll show you in the Postman. Okay, this is how you will be passing. Suppose I have an application already debugging in my local. Okay, this is how you have to pass. Before this, I will click on new one. Okay, I'll send the request, localhost, whatever it is. Okay, so how to pass multiple payloads from Postman when you're testing. This is via Postman. I will also show you how to pass the request via HTTP call. Okay, in Postman, you have to go to body. Previously, what we used to do is, if we want to pass any kind of JSON data or XML data, we used to go to raw option and select the data type like JSON or HTML or XML or Java object, right? But for form data, you have separate option called form data over here. And then you will be having an option for key and values. Okay, whenever this value we are sending, right, value will always be in the form of string, not because here we cannot define. I'll show you that. Okay, so here key is nothing but whatever you are defining here. For example, I'll show you this example. Actually, I have designed and published. There was another payload 4. Okay, and type as file. I have designed this application and I have developed and deployed in Runtime Manager. I'll show you that later. But this payload 1, payload 2, payload 3, and payload 4 are the keys here. Okay, so first you have to define what is the key, and just can you see here something is popping up over here, text, And if I drop down it, it is asking two things. Either you want to pass the value as text or a file, right? So we have only two options, which is string and a file to pass. So payload one, what is my payload one type? It is a string. So I will choose text, and then I want to pass a JSON word. Okay, so I can just say name colon Shravan, but I am passing a JSON as a string. So how to convert that into actual JSON, I will show you. Next, you want to pass another payload. So this is how you have to add one more payload called payload 2, and you can pass this value again to root hello world. Again, this is in strings. Okay, and end it. And payload 3, now you can choose here, it is a text, but I want to upload a file. So I'll click on file, then you will get an option to upload your file. I'll just select it. I'll go here. I'll select one screenshot and keep it. And this is image, right? The file type is image. And payload 4, again I will select, so file, and I will upload some other file, isn't it? So I can upload a PDF file. So this is how you have to send. And when you click on send, how it will show, I'll show you. I have already created an application and deployed on my local. So let me go to the collections. So multi-part form data, you can see here, right? What I'm trying to send: payload 1, names Shravan, payload 2 in form of XML, payload 3 is some kind of, I don't know which image or not. I have to check it out. I don't know what is the file type. So payload 4, even I don't know, but let's see how to do. And here is my application which is deployed. I am not going into this transform message, but I wanted to show. So this transform message is something, I am showing like how I have designed this parts 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. But before that, I wanted to show you how to extract these values. Suppose there is a requirement where you are getting multiple payloads, and then you have to access only payload 1. How to get those values, we will see. Okay, now I am triggering this endpoint. Okay, okay, I think my application is okay. Let me debug the application. Is there any limit to add payloads? Okay, this is another common question even in real-time projects they are asking. Guys, good question, by the way, Sandhya. So there are a lot of questions are asked, like what is the maximum file size that we can send via HTTP, via HTTP call, this multi-part form data. Always remember one thing: we have some architectural solutions, isn't it? We have for example, in MuleSoft, we don't have any limit as of now. Okay, and we don't know how it works. But whenever you are working with HTTP protocols, that means whenever you are sending a file via HTTP protocol, it is not always the best practice to transfer large files over HTTP protocol. Got it? Any doubts, guys? So whenever someone asks you this question, what is the maximum size limit? No, there is no size limit defined as such. You can send 1 GB of file also, but it is all about your application performance and the number of records you are using to process the file, right? But suggestion is, whenever you are dealing with large files, please don't use HTTP protocol. For that, we have different protocols called SFTP or FTP. That is why we are using different protocols, isn't it? Why do we want to use different protocols if it is just to upload a file? So you have to whenever you are dealing with file upload or file transferring, for a large file, you can opt SFTP as your protocol. That means you have to use SFTP connector to transfer files. But in real-time scenario, I would always, in real time, I have worked like uploading a file of maximum of 10 MB. 10 MB itself is huge for me. When basically those files, certificates or small things, right? They will upload like this. But whenever you're dealing with large files, please opt SFTP protocol over HTTP. Yeah. To send a large file, can it be sent as a stream? Yes, you can send as a stream. But as I said, when this is a HTTP protocol, isn't it? So as I said, when you are dealing with large files, please use SFTP, and then there you can do streaming. because it is not a best practice to use. Even if you, this is not just with MuleSoft, okay, this is not something which related to MuleSoft. Even if you are using Java microservices or any application which is built, any API which is built in different languages, they all follow the same protocol. If you Google a question like what is the maximum payload that we can transfer, what is the size of a file, that maximum size of a file that we can transfer over HTTP, you will find answers from experts that it is not good to use HTTP protocol to send large files. How can we use? No, multipart is only for web services, HTTP requester. SFTP is just uploading. We have HTTP connection. Yes, I am Dheeraj. I am coming to you regarding that base 64. Yes. Okay. So multipart SFTP are totally different. SFTP, you will have a connector. You will have access to that location. Just use whatever file you want to upload and do it. Okay. But multipart is for web services, HTTP things. All right. So let me see if my application is deployed. Yes, it is deployed. Now I wanted to show how to access these values. I'm sending the request and my breakpoint is over here. So I'm not doing anything, but I wanted to go to Mule debugger and show how the payload looks when you are sending from Postman, right? You can see here, isn't it? Can you see here? There is something called content disposition, which is form data. That's what we have discussed, and name payload one. And what is this payload one? It is looking like JSON, but it is not actually JSON. Why? I will show you here. Next, payload 2, you are seeing XML. And payload 3, here you can see the content type is image PNG. I told, right, I don't know what kind of file it is because I'm not able to, move this. But here you can see it is image PNG image. And this is the binary stream of that image, binary stream value. So this will be large because my screenshot is large, but same likewise, you will be having a PDF file, I guess, payload with 4 somewhere. Okay. Here, this is how it looks when you are in debugger thing. Yeah. So how to access now only this value? For example, now I always tell many of the developers, please don't try to let me pin this one. Okay, please don't try to always write syntax directly, the large syntax, so that because it will fail always, right? If I say payload, enter, you can see payload is coming like this. Okay, then payload dot parts, if I enter, it is giving an error. This is a very, very common error. Okay, I will show you something in the slide. I will be discussing, I have a slide for common errors when dealing with multi-part form data. I should have this thank you at the end. Okay, common errors that you do when you are dealing with multi-part form data. This is the common error that most of them will face. Even if you Google it, this is the common error. What it will say: multi-part object does not have parts field defined, etc., preamble, all these things. This will not come when you are not defining the output type. So I will define something like, to access those payload values, what I will do is output application JSON. You can define any output type you want, but make sure it works. Parts. Now I'm able to see my output here. But of course, as payload is very large, you can see, right, the binary form of image and PDF are large. So it is saying your payload is not fully displayed as the content is too large, but you can see still that you can see payload 1, all these values, payload 2 and all. I don't want to show you payload 3 and payload 4 because it is having a lot of details. Then how to extract this payload 1 only? Okay, what is the structure again? If you go back to my slides, what is the structure again? Payload, this is payload, payload dot parts, you are getting payload 1, payload 2. Now to access this, we have to click payload 1. Payload dot parts dot payload 1. That will give your first content, first payload details. Clear? Details we have in payload 1, that's what I'm showing here, right? Within payload 1, you have headers, content. So sorry, even if you are passing through Postman, this is the common structure. So you have to understand this basic structure. That's why I stressed a lot when I am explaining this message structure. So it always follows the same structure. So inside we have headers and content, right? Now, if I want to know the name of of the key, right? Payload one. How to get it? It's just simple. Dot headers. You are getting again this dot content disposition. Okay, some spelling might be wrong. So I'll copy this. Not spelling. I am not giving in inverted commas, so hyphen is giving trouble. So here you can see, and to access that name, dot name. This is the syntax to get the key name. Okay, this is one part. Then I am removing this whole part here, headers, because I don't want any header details. I want content details. Can you guys see something over here? What is happening here? You can see some backward slash, right? That means it is a string for sure, right? If I click not string, I'll show you something what it is called dot content. And see, I am getting my content over here. Okay, but when I am trying to give type of what kind of payload you are sending here, is saying binary because it is coming via file. It is a multi-part and it will come as a binary, but it is not a JSON. Clear? Here, then how to convert this JSON to actual JSON, this string JSON to actual JSON? Any guess, guys? Any guess how to convert this string to actual JSON? Perfect, very good. Yeah, we have to use read operation to read the string content into a application JSON value. So it's just like keep read payload dots whatever it is and keep it within application JSON. Okay, now it will give you actual JSON. And what is the type of this now? Can anyone guess what is the type of this? What if I give type of this part, what it will say? JSON, no, wrong answer, wrong answers. Yes, Ramaswamy has given object. There is no type. When you keep type of, it will not say, because again, when it is JSON, it is either a object or an array, right? So if you see, it will say object. Okay, make sure this is also the mistake. Most of them generally what they do is if there is any requirement where you have to see what type of to validate if it is an object or not, what it is a JSON or not, what they will do is type of blah blah blah, they will say equal to JSON. If I say type of this equal to JSON, what you have said, then it's absolutely false. So it can be either object and O is, sorry, it should not be a string. So this is okay. This is also a common mistake. If at all there is any validations you are doing performing. Now that we got content type as this one, let me move to access, how to access XML. Same thing. Only thing you have to do is remove this payload 1 to payload 2 and give application XML. Why it is saying error? No root. Yes, but one more thing also you have. So remove this. One more thing also, you have to first define output type as XML and then give a root to it. So I will say like test. Oops. While reading the root. Okay. Is there? Oh, okay. This is wrong payload because you can see here, right? Name Shravan and I ended with 7. So just I'll do this thing. I'll copy this, pass the correct payload. So this is also one of the good mistakes I have made, because make sure that you have to validate where, see, I am saying that this is JSON by passing. I am saying this XML. This is an XML, but is this really a valid XML, guys, which I am passing? Right? No. And there is no way that we can do it at designing RAML itself. We cannot validate this one. So please make sure that you have a check before. Suppose there is a requirement where you have to pass JSON and XML. Please try to validate the details and then proceed further. Okay, so I have to send name because I was thinking like root is there already, why it is asking root, but now I think it should be fine. I'm sending the request again, trying here. Now you can see I am getting the XML version. Clear? Even if I don't pass test, it should work because it has a root tag named start. Any doubts how to access the payload within multipart? Yes, no's? Can we proceed further? Okay. Next, very good point. One of our, I don't know his name, but he told something about 64 content. Yes, whenever. So base 64 content, again, there are two things you have to understand, that you can send as a file, or you can send as a base 64 content. I will show you when we will send as a base 64 content, because when we are using to call via HTTP requester, okay, you can send like this. But if you want this payload 3, the file content to be passed as text format, okay, whenever you want to pass this file in a text format, then what you can do is you can use base 64 again to convert that into base 64. We have base 64 of this thing, isn't it? How to convert a base 64? We in DataView we have binaries and then use to base 64. But don't forget, whenever, so we are sending a base 64 and you have to inform the client that we are sending the content as base 64, so that from their side they will decrypt from base 64 using from base 64. Clear? And regarding the content of so again, going back to payload dot parts, okay, oops, sorry, this is the output type XML, so it will expect a root tag, but I'll keep this one for now. So payload dot parts, next thing I told you, right, the difference between a string passing as a string and passing as a file, you will get file names here. Can you see here file name? So how to access that file name? It is very simple. Simple data view dot payload 3. I am not entering because it is having large. I'll start with header so that I will get only header details. Then I will copy this. You are getting this, and then file name. Make sure file name. If I give N as capital, it is a common mistake we might do, but file name is N is small, and you will get the file name. And this you can modify it, you can use for any business logic. Clear? Everyone? Yes, no's? Okay. Okay, great. So now that we have discussed about how to access these values, right? So where are we? So how to access values from payload. Now we shall see how to calling a multi-part API via HTTP request. Clear? So let me unpin this. It is very simple, just like this. Whatever the mule message, whatever the message structure we have seen here, you have to define all those things before passing into a HTTP requester. Before HTTP requester, you have to have a transform message like this, and you have to define all these details. Okay. Now to test this, I have already on Cloud Hub. I'll go to it will give, I don't know why it is taking time, but let me try to. Guys, you don't have any breaks in my voice, isn't it? Just to want to make sure that I have proper internet. Okay,
yeah, we can hear properly.
Okay, thank you. Because my runtime manager is taking too long time. Okay, so I have a multi-part example already deployed. Okay, so in logs, I can show you something like, I am trying to print payload 1. I am not printing the content. Okay, there is an API which I have already developed and deployed, which will display only header details. You can see content disposition. What are these content dispositions and all are within headers, isn't it? So I wanted to print only header details just to verify that we have made a successful call. Clear? So I will try to call this multi-part form data API. Okay, you can see here. First, I will call via Postman. So let me see. Here it is. So I will show you the body. So you can see for first time, what I'll do is I am passing name. I won't send any files here. So it is saying 201 created because it is, you can see here what it is printing, the content is empty. So it is taking as a empty file. Clear? Even though you are not passing any file, it will consider as an empty file. But if I remove this, uncheck this, right? For example, even here, if I remove this and give a blank space, it will create, because it is you are passing a key and value will be empty string. But what if I am not passing this payload one itself? If I send this request, it is saying bad request. And what is this log showing? It is saying required parameter payload one not specified. So this is another interesting thing. Even if you are not passing value, it will take as empty. Even if you are not passing as a file, it will take empty. That means what you are doing, is in this, you are defining payload 3 and payload 4. The names are defined, but you are not passing any content. That's the thing. Clear? So, and upon successful request, you can see I am getting these details. Now this is a call via Postman. We shall see how to call it via HTTP requester in real-time integrations. Okay, so in my project I have already developed. It is very simple. Transform message, I told you how to define it. Okay, now you can see I am having parts. I will explain this way. Okay, it is very easy now here to explain in this way. So you can see this is the message structure you have to follow. Parts. In parts, you have to define 4 sections because we have 4 payloads: payload 1, payload 2, payload 3, and payload 4. Then in each section, I'll go here. In each section, you can see headers. Okay, sorry guys, I think I have informed you wrong information. Everything is within header, and this header. So this payload 1, the content is within this root tag. Okay, I think I have said the same thing, I guess. Okay, payload 1 has headers and content. Okay, and now within headers, you can see we have content disposition, name. Subtype is always common. You can hard code or you can keep it in property file. Even if you keep in property file, that's not a big thing because we won't be changing that in future because it is always a form data type. And content, whatever I am taking. So now here, coming back to my post request, here, suppose if this is my test one, okay, I am passing via HTTP details here. Okay, so payload.parts.payload1.content, I am retrieving it. Next, payload 2, same thing I am doing, but here what I am doing is I want to send it a hard-coded message or content, not actually picking up from this one, but I wanted to send from here. Okay, next, payload 3 is a file. Here you can see the content. What I am trying to do is I am sending some details, but if you want to access this one, okay, let me put 2 binary mule4. What you can do is you can use this, where are this? Sorry, 2 base 64, my bad. So if you just copy this, okay, and then paste it over here, and what you can do is I'll copy the same content in payload 4. Let me do, because I am sending file here in payload 4, isn't it? So payload 4 in content, what I can do is I can pass this. Oops, I can copy this. Okay, and I'll convert this into base 64 by keeping 2 base 64, so that it will pass as a string. This is how you have to pass the content. And again, when decrypting from their side, you have to mention this one. Okay, from base 64, it is 2 base 64 to again decrypt it. So for example, in 2 base 64, here you can see this is the base 64 content. It will be something like this. But once you decrypt it from base 64 with the values, right, hello world and all, you can see you will get base64 value. Clear? So this is how I wanted to send, and you can see the structures, headers, and I told you only difference in when you're sending as a file is file name. One is file name and the other one is content type. You can change the file names if you want. There is nothing wrong based upon your requirement. Very, very, very important point is I will stop sharing my screen and you guess why it is giving an error. Okay. I'll just make a mistake. You guys tell me why it is giving an error. I'll share my screen again. Okay, so I'm sending the request. Okay, here you can see it is going to next part. Again, in payload parts, if I'm not wrong, you should be seeing base64 content. This is the base64 content. Okay, this is the base64 content. Previously you saw those question marks, different kind of symbols, isn't it? This is the base64 content. Now it will definitely give an error. You have to tell me why. I will show you the error. Please tell me why. Or it is saying bad request, and yes, if there is no error description, right? But I'll show my transfer message. Tell me why it is bad request. I'll give 1 minute. I cannot switch screens, so let me try putting this in. Okay, I have this. You are using payload 1 content type. Payload 4 should be used in. Can you tell me the line numbers? Payload 2 XML is wrong. Payload 2 XML is wrong. Payload 2 XML is wrong as in 46, 44. 15th line. Okay. No. Anyone with someone answered correct. Sajina. Yes, you are absolutely right. So Sajina answered the answer, and Swami Veera. Yes. 15th, not 15th line, sorry. No, 20th line. So yeah, 20th line. Yeah. So here you can see what I'm doing. Though I am defining my value as payload to here, what is the name I am giving here, right? I am giving payload 3. So you will be in a hurry that, so this name, you might think it is very, so these are the common mistakes I personally made. So I wanted to explain them. Okay. We think like, as we have defined these values properly, that's fine to give any name. No, this is the actual name. Okay. Because I am defining payload 3 here instead of payload 2, it is saying that your error message in runtime manager shows that required form parameter payload 2 is not specified. If I have shown this you earlier, you would have answered correctly, but yes, this is why it is failing. Now I'll change it to payload 2 and save it. Okay, I'm saving it. Let me resume this. And you can see this is the last error message in the logs. Let's see now if you are making any successful call or not. Okay, I'm sending the request now again. So here, let me see if I am making a successful call. Yep, I got 200 requests with all details here. And you can see I got a successful response. Payload 1, payload 2, payload 3. This is a logger that I have used in my application which I have deployed, where to print, I wanted to print only header details. And this is the final payload I got when I have hit those details. You can see here content, and content is in base64 format. Okay, if I just copy this, and probably I can use DW line fun, copy this. I'm not sure if DW line fun gives base64. Let me copy this. So it should be in string. Okay, you can see here, right? This is my base64 content which I have converted, but the actual value is name Shravan. Got it? Clear, everyone? Any doubts so far? So with that, I wanted to show that. So sorry. This is how we have called, right? So the URL I have given directly. And okay, one more thing I wanted to show how to call this one. Again, it's always best practice in HTTP requester to define something like this: multi-part form data and payload. Okay, so this is all about multi-part form data in Mule4, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. Why line 46 also? Someone said like line 46. Why it is wrong? No, line 46 content. See, you are not validating any content over there because your value is going as a string or as a file, right? So it won't validate your content. That's one of the, I won't say disadvantages, but one of the extra steps that you have to use. You can use both. Is there any difference? No. Good question. Form part of form data you can use. It will consider that form data. Maybe my vendor. Why is it best practice to give output form data in HTTP request? No, it's just best practice. Even if you pass payload and you have already defined this one, but in case if you have, so I faced this issue in some earlier versions of 4.1 or somewhere. If we are not defining that, I got this error, but I think in the latest versions it is not required, I guess. But still, it's good to give, isn't it? Output type in the body. So any more questions, guys? I don't know. I'm not able to see the count of the attendees. Can you explain request that you have added? Can you explain the request that you have added? This one? Okay, that's what I'm saying, right? Previously, you have called your API via Postman, but real time, imagine in real time, will the user upload this request via HTTP via Postman? No, isn't it? You'll get the details from somewhere, or you will hard code the details and you have to call that API via HTTP request. So that's the reason we are using HTTP request to call already deployed multi-part API. I can I can have basic HTML page. Give me a minute. I'll take one. Okay, let me copy this. We have form, yeah. So I'll try to do something. I'll keep a listener. Then I'll stop the project. This is just for, reference. Sorry. HTML. Okay, I am pasting something. So upon submitting, I want this action, form action should go to test1. Okay, I want to submit it there. Then fname, last name, text, values, and I want something else. I want to remove this label or text area. Okay, I will just copy this values, copy, and then I want to remove this one as well. I'll keep this. I'll say last name in the file upload. File type equal file file file. I don't want any placeholder. I'm just trying out. Let's see if that works. This one. Okay. And then go to multi-part form data, give a listener path like login, and keep the parts template, drag and drop. Give location as test.html. I don't think it is required, but let's. Okay, musical exclusive, that is not. So toggle breakpoint. I think toggle breakpoint is not necessary here, but let me run the project. Oh, one more thing I forgot, like that should be type should be multi-part form data, I guess. Let's see if that works. Or else it will come. So I'll show HTML form data. Let this deploy it. Let's see how it works. So localhost 8081 slash login. You can see here you are entering like details like Shravan, country, whatever it is. We have only 3 for now. I'll choose USA, and file, you have an option to choose file. Click on open. So people who are new to MuleSoft or something, like this is how it works, right? From front end, upon clicking submit, what we are doing, we are actually calling. You can see upon clicking what is happening. I am sending this, I am calling this test1. Of course there is some errors because I am not passing any payload 1, payload 2. These are the required files, isn't it? Payload 1, payload 2, and all these things. But in real time cases we have to pass in that way. So actually you have to pass these details as post. Okay, I'm not sure if I can pass HTML basic post form. So there will be a method to define also, like method equal to post somewhere. That's how basically when you click on submit, that's how what happens. So clicking on submit, it will come the request to here. So I think I have run the application, but I will also show you that. I will debug the application and show you how it works. So this is my login page, right? So here it is parsing the template and giving a HTML view. Let it get deployed and see what happens. You can see the application is deployed. I'm submitting the request again. You can see it is in debug mode, and you can see the request is coming to your test1. Test1. Why? Because my HTML page, upon submitting here in form action, I told action to go to test1 resource. So that is why it is coming here. But you can see in payload, it is coming as empty because we have to define something in HTML for post method to pass these details as body. That is different thing. But now, as you see here, next, and it here itself it is failing because we don't have any content, isn't it? payload.parse.content, or the reason why is pay to base 64. I guess that's the reason, because it is getting null. You cannot pass to base 64. But this is how in real time it works. Clear? This is just for your understanding, Aman. So any doubts, guys? Or we can go with quiz. Meanwhile, one more thing, I have my multi-part form video also in my YouTube channel, my MuleSoft Tech Zone. You can also go through that video. Of course, you will have. Do you have RAML specification for multi-part API? Dheeraj, I think I have shown you that as very first part, isn't it? Designing RAML API specification. Is that what you are asking, or you missed the designing part? This is how I have given, isn't it? Multi-part form data with payload. Well, you can also try. You have this recording. Instead of sharing, it's a very simple one. You can try, right? Instead of me sharing, it's always best practice to practice from your side. Okay, I can share. That's not a big problem. It's just a line of code. I can just straight away put this in your chat. Done. Okay, but it's better to practice from your side. Any questions? Are we good to proceed for quiz? Or what is the next part? Om should inform. Okay, I'm stop sharing my screen. Prakash, you can continue.
Sure. Thank you very much. So yeah, I see we don't have much question now. Like I think we covered already. Thank you very much for this session and covering all these questions. And thank you everyone for making it interactive with question. Speaker enjoyed like you when we ask questions. So thank you. Let me share my screen. So now, like this page visible. Please open menti.com, everyone. Please open menti.com and this code for quiz. Menti.com and code. Yes, we can see like people are joining. Thank you very much. So all questions, 5 questions, and questions are from today's session only. And as mentioned earlier,
yeah, 3 winner will be eligible for free training from the MuleSoft training.
Yes. Guys, if you have any problem in connecting, please type in the chat, because once we start, we won't be able to add the users. Let's give them 1 more minute and
sure. Yeah, if any issue in joining, please let us know in chat so we can check also.
You can just say join so that we can confirm.
Yes.